Hi guys, welcome back to the YouTube channel. I wanted to get a video out because I haven't recorded one in a while, and I wanted to kind of document my journey throughout the off season as well. Obviously the last series was all on prep and how I went through prep, and I documented that journey. Now I want to give you guys a bit of an insight into my off season, kind of show you my progress along the way, show you what I get up to outside of the gym as well. So this first video, what I want to go through is my structure for the off season, the plan for the off season, how I'm going to approach it in terms of a timeline for that, and what training, nutrition, etc. is currently looking like. So let's go first by a timeline. Now, I have the sort of approach I went for last time around, which was more of an aggressive push-up. So I pushed up body weight quite high, and then we pulled back down, and then we pushed up once again quite high, and then we came back down, and then we kind of pushed up but leveled out before going into more of a, before we went into prep. This time I'm going to take a slightly different approach. Now, I've reached that stage where I have been training for quite a while. Now, these big aggressive push-ups can be quite useful if you are sort of new to training, and you've still got a lot of scope to add a good amount of gains. But I think a more sensible and perhaps more effective approach is to take a slower and more steady route. So this is the route I'm taking now, where I'm just slowly bumping up my weight. One, I don't need to be putting on tons of muscle because you know, the feedback from the last season was that the muscularity was already there. But two, it just means that I'm sort of staying in this sort of gaining and prolonging this gaining phase throughout the sort of year time span that I plan to be in this for, before then kind of pulling back down and then going again. So it means that I'm not going through these troughs where I'm going into a mini cut and having to back off. And when I'm hitting these peak body weights, I'm not performing at my best, whereas this whole time I'll be in a productive zone where I'll be performing well at the gym, I'll be recovering well, and I'm not having to strip back. Every time you're stripping back, going into deficit, it's much harder to gain muscle in that zone. So a more sensible approach now is just taking that slow, steady route. Eventually I will need to probably have to pull back and mini cut slightly. This might be slightly below that 1 year time frame. I imagine it'll be kind of more around summertime this year. I'll pull back a little bit and then I'll come back up, but I'm not going to reach those peak body weights that I had previously. So that is the plan. In terms of when I'll compete, not too sure at the moment. It just depends on my own personal circumstances. So it's looking like might be 2025 or 2026. So I haven't set that in stone yet, but as long as I'm kind of in this zone, that's fine. And I'm sort of hanging around 95 kilos of body weight. It means that I can easily kind of dip into a cut whenever. So that is the plan in terms of the timeline. Let's go through my current training. So training, what are we doing in terms of training at the moment? Off the back of prep, I decided to move down to a 4-day split. The reason being is I wanted to add a little bit more recovery time with my hip, having a bit of an injury in my hip. I wanted to allow a bit more time for that to recover. Not only that, coming off the back of a prep, it is smarter just to give your body a bit more rest. So I didn't really change up too much in terms of exercise selection either, just to kind of allow that proper length of recovery time before then looking to make changes to the program. And it's only recently I made some changes to exercise selection. So the current split is a push, a pull, a density day where I'm targeting basically the whole of my legs and back as well, and then an upper session where it's push and pull combined. So you can see I'm getting quite a lot of frequency on my back. That was one of the areas I wanted to work off based off the feedback from this season. Mainly in that front shot, I wanted to try and get a bit more width through my lats. So my focus at the moment is really targeting the lats through those pull movements. And currently it is working. I'm noticing some good visual changes. In terms of like my top line, I worked a lot on that in my last off season. So my chest, my side delts really came on. So I'm still keeping the frequency in there with 2 days a week. But this is taking a little bit of backseat as we kind of work on the back. Now in terms of lower, obviously I've got that hip injury, so currently I'm only training it once a week, which is fine for men's physique, and I plan to still stay in men's physique for quite a while, so that's fine. I do add a little bit extra hamstring volume, so I hit my hip hinges on the pull day, so I'm getting a little bit more volume on the hamstrings on that day, and then the density day is where I'm really targeting my legs. What I will plan to do is kind of once that injury has properly rehabbed, once I'm feeling really good, I may add in that 5th day back in. Just at the moment, I'm really just collecting data. I'm collecting data based on where my body weight's stabilizing to, how I'm looking like based off sort of like the start of this off season. And then we'll see where things are at, and then I may go ahead and add a 5th day in. So in terms of training, that's what I'm currently doing. I will progress by slowly adding some volume up as the blocks go on, making some changes to exercise selection as well if things become stagnant. But currently things are moving in the right direction, and that is what we plan to continue to do as we go through this off season. So what about nutrition? Off the back of prep, allow myself a bit of downtime from tracking, strict tracking. Now, I have prepped 3 times now, so I am used to that post-show phase and staying relatively under control with my food. Allowing myself to have a few days of eating what I want, but then I kept things relatively controlled and ate some of the food that obviously I missed eating throughout the prep. After the 2-week phase, I kind of got straight back into a sort of structured weight plan of eating. Now, I wanted to allow a little bit more flexibility throughout this off season because I have been so structured for so long. Even the last off season, I'd be eating exactly the same meals. And just from a mental standpoint, I think it was better that I allowed myself a little bit of flexibility. So coming off the back of prep, I went up to roughly 2,800 calories. Now, calories don't matter, like those calories don't exactly matter because it is individual to me, so it won't matter to you. I'm just saying what I went up to. Finished on 1,800, wanted to get a good chunk up to get some body weight back on, because you need to do that for recovery purposes. Once again, you need to get body fat on and to get you back into a recovered state for actually progressing in that gaining phase. So initially a big chunk on, and then we slowly progressed up from there. Now, the calories aren't bang on because the flexibility element, what I've allowed myself is my evening meal. So typically like meal 4 for me, I've allowed flexibility of that meal. I won't track it at all. I'll roughly get some protein in there, a good amount of carbs and some veggies in that meal. And I've saved myself around about 900 calories. Well, it's moved up to 900 calories. So 900 calories now for that meal. I think right at the beginning of the off season, it was maybe about 600 to 700. So it just gives me some flexibility. It takes my mind off tracking all the time, but I'm still getting some good nutrition in that meal. So that was where it started, and now we've slowly progressed up to around about 3,700. That's on a training day, slightly less on a non-training day. And currently that's allowing me to kind of slowly build my body weight up. So starting off this off season, I was around about 83, 84 kilos. And now currently we're almost moving into March. I'm currently sitting around about 94 to 95 kilos. So we're a good sort of, probably about 12 kilos up from my actual stage weight, about 10 kilos up from that sort of set point of the start of the off season. Feeling good, performing well at the moment. Biofeedback's in a really good spot. Training's going well, nutrition's good, so my food focus is obviously a lot lower now. And what we're going to do in terms of the progression with the nutrition is we're just going to bump it up slowly. Currently I'm just like holding my body weight, so I'm holding about 95. Once I notice my performance in the gym not sort of going up, then we'll make a small sort of bump up to food. But I just want that to really trickle up at a really nice slow rate now that things have stabilized. Eventually I probably will mini cut once I hit sort of that 96 to 97 kilo body weight and appetite is starting to slow down. And I may just do it for myself, just for summer. Again, there's no pressure to put on muscle in this off season. I need to still improve areas, don't get me wrong. And a lot of the guys moving into the WNBF are getting bigger. So there are some areas I still need to improve, notably sort of my arms, my back, as I already mentioned. I want to just get a little bit more lats to get those back shots bang on and to give a bit more taper from the front. And then I'll continue to work obviously on all my other areas as well. But that's a bit of an update on the off season. Gives you an idea of how I structure things. And yeah, thanks once again for watching, guys. If you've got any questions, drop them below. But the plan is to get more content out. I want to document this off season. I want to show you what I do on a day-to-day basis, perhaps outside of bodybuilding, training footage with clients, going to client shows, this sort of thing. So stay tuned for more content and videos coming out. And thanks once again for watching, guys. Subscribe below, leave a comment below, and catch you in the next one.